the difficult parts, the parts that aren't so confident and so bold. She was a kindred spirit. I call her my spirit animal. We just really understood each other. And so I wanted to tell the story that was difficult for me to accept through the eyes of the person that I felt was most accepting in my life.
Oh, wow. Hello, everyone. I'm Opie Fafore, and welcome to Conversations with Opie, a show dedicated to inspiring people to dream big, use their gift, and walk in their purpose. My guest today is the author of How Helena Got Her Name, Shawnteyana Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how are you doing tonight? Thank you so much for taking the time and coming onto the show to discuss your debut book. That's an exciting venture.
Yes, I'm well. It's been a journey, so I'm really excited to be here.
That's good. So, I mean, when it comes to creating, one can say, okay, it's easy to have an idea, but it's another thing to actually go forth and say, I have a plan and I'm going to execute it. No matter what roadblocks come in the way, I'm just focused on it. Tell me about your process in creating this book and why it was so important for you to do so.
Yeah, so this book is actually just my personal story of acceptance and triumph over one of my biggest insecurities growing up, which was having an ethnic or a more uncommon name. Mm-hmm. Never really pronounced right, even at my high school graduation. It was pronounced wrong, and so it was really just a journey of self-acceptance. Okay. And I wanted to create a dialogue that didn't really exist when I was in elementary school.
And so tell me about some of the things that you experienced at elementary school that made you not feel a part of, like, what were the things that you had to go through and overcome, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so bullying was a big thing. Sometimes, when you're different or, have things about you that people don't understand, it's easy for them to ostracize you or to pick on those things. And so unfortunately, probably from about first grade to maybe third grade, I had a really hard time with bullies in my name. And even just the beginning of the school year, I would always kind of rush to say it before the teacher because I know that they were going to butcher it. It wasn't until the fourth grade that I had a teacher who actually called me by my full name.
Wow.
A lot of people would settle, like they would try to say it and immediately be like, well, can I call you Sean, or can I call you Shanti, or is there something else we can do? And this was the first teacher that I ever had that called me by my name. And that it made all the
crazy difference. The funny thing is that, of course, for me, myself, I've experienced that as well. I have a unique name. Growing up in Nigeria, that my name was not unique or something that people couldn't pronounce. Then I came into a culture or a space where they wanted to find an easier way to call me something else that was not what I was, to make it comfortable for them. And that is it's a sad reality for a lot of people with unique names, even till today. That was years back, but even students now are still going through that hesitancy of, I've got to say my name first, or shorten it, or make it sound a different way because I don't want them to pick on me or, mispronounce it to such a degree that it becomes unrecognizable. So I definitely relate to you on that front, on trying to get there. So tell me more about the teacher that changed that for you. This was in fourth grade, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I had a teacher in the fourth grade. Her name is Mrs. Letizia. Shout out to her. She has stayed a part of my life throughout the years. She actually was just very influential in getting the book into the Middletown City School District. But she always supported me fully, even to this day, calls me by my full name. Wow. I couldn't even get her to say Shanti at one point, and she was like, no, your name is Shawnteyana. I'm going to call you Shanti. But it's given me like a level of confidence I don't even think that I've expressed to her, because now when I step into different spaces and opportunities, like, people have to call me by my name. They have to take the time to say it and to learn it and to slow down. And so now, whereas I used to be embarrassed for having such a different name, I'm happy that I have a name that makes people slow down and take a minute and think about me when they're addressing me and really like put some thought into it.
Absolutely. And back in October, you actually got to read to her students. Like it was basically a full circle moment. Tell me more about that experience. Like what feeling did you have going into a space that you were once a student and now you're able to read to them and give them an understanding?
Yeah, I had so many feelings. It was kind of like the Twilight Zone a little bit. Because I don't know about anybody else, but my memories like of childhood really didn't start to form vividly till around third, fourth grade. Okay. So she's one of the elementary teachers where I remember being in her class. Like I remember having her as a teacher. I remember the friends that I made there, most of whom I still have. Mm-hmm. So it was really special to kind of just go back, and it was the same like energy, supportive, fun. She's an awesome educator. So it was really exciting.
So how much of a big role did she play in you becoming an educator yourself?
Oh my gosh, a huge role. I didn't necessarily know what route I wanted to take with it, but I always knew that I wanted to work with children. Okay. I always knew that I wanted a safe space and a supportive space for them, because she was very much that in our classroom. So it had a huge impact on, I think, more so the kind of person I wanted to be, more so than the career I wanted to have.
Right, right. That's amazing. I mean, educators, good ones, have a great influence on how a child thinks, how they find themselves in the world. I recently had a run-in with my 7th grade math teacher. I hadn't seen him in years, but I remember he was one of the first people I met when we first moved upstate. And it was such a distinct memory that when I ran into him, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the person that really made me feel good about a space I wasn't too sure about when I first arrived there. So that it's so important to have those kinds of people in your life. Now let's get back to the book. Now the title has Helena, which, although not a very common name, is still an easy name to pronounce. Why not Shawnteyana, as how Shawnteyana got her name? Why Helena? Who is Helena?
Yeah, so Helena Ruth is my Nana's name. Unfortunately, she passed away in April of 2019. But she was the most supportive person in my life. Just taught me everything: how to read, how to write, how to drive, how to everything you can learn in life. And she was always very accepting of me as a person, and I mean all of me. The difficult parts, the parts that aren't so confident and so bold. She was a kindred spirit. I call her my spirit animal. We just really understood each other. And so I wanted to tell the story that was difficult for me to accept through the eyes of the person that I felt was most accepting in my life.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I chose to go with her name instead of my own, because she had such an influence in getting me to this point where I'm even comfortable enough to tell this story. So it was just a way to kind of honor her and who she's been in my life.
What was one of the biggest takeaway? What's like one of the greatest lessons that you learned from your Nana?
And I say this to myself every morning. Above all, to thine own self be true, would be the biggest lesson that I learned from her. To just show up in spaces as you are. There's nothing more fulfilling than being true to yourself. I think in life sometimes, especially in adolescence, we're always trying to please everyone. We want to make mom and dad happy. We want the teachers to feel like we're doing good. We want to fit in with our friends. And I felt like at a certain point, I really lost myself. Mm-hmm. And that's something that even now in adulthood, I just kind of say to myself when I'm feeling like I'm getting off course: are you being true to Shanti? And if that's the case, then everything else will follow as it's supposed to. But you have to start with that. So I would say that's the biggest lesson that she taught me.
That is a great lesson. And, the crazy thing is that it's not just something that, people even go through in adolescence. Some people never learn it until such later on in life, So for you to be able to have that clarity or have someone who has instilled that in you at a younger age to learn from, that is truly a gift. What a blessing that you had someone like that in your life. I was looking at your book and I love the illustrations in it. It's well done. There's character in their faces. Like it's not just a simple drawing. You can see the emotion in those characters. How important was it for you to collaborate with the illustrator in making this book and having her artwork in there? And tell us more about your relationship with her.
Yeah, so my illustrator is Tashara Persons. She's a wonderful, wonderful artist. I've known her for a few years, actually through church and like community organizations. Mm-hmm. I've always been a fan of her. So when I decided to do the book, like immediately the first person that came to mind was Tashara, because I knew that she possessed what I needed to tell the story how I wanted to tell it. I was able to sit down with her and actually send her pictures of my loved ones and friends that I had at that age for her to draw from.
Oh, wow.
But explain to her the background so she could capture the emotion. And she did a really, really great job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely beautiful work. Beautiful work. You know, I want to go back to how you said, you know, being true to yourself. How important was that in helping you find your purpose and finding who you are and what you like? You actually even mentioned it earlier that one of the things you loved about your fourth grade teacher was that it's not necessarily about you wanting to become an educator, but about who you want to be as a person. So in that journey and everything that you've learned from all these wonderful people in your lives, how did that help you get to your purpose?
Yeah, so I think that I'm still, my purpose is still developing. I don't think it's an end goal for any of us. I think it's a journey. This is part of it. And this is kind of like, I like to think of it as a train, and this is kind of the stop that I'm at right now.
Right.
I think that purpose is more of a journey than a destination, which is a lesson that I had to learn for myself as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel so behind. And I think that this is just a part of it that's unfolding right now. And I'm excited to see where it's going. But how I feel like they influenced that was just the courage to be me. I think that there's something really freeing about feeling like you have spaces where you can be yourself,
right,
entirely.
Absolutely.
And fortunately, especially as women, the world doesn't always give us that. And so for them to create those spaces for me where I could be who I am freely and kind of think about, what do I like? What do I not like? How does this look for me? What do I need to work on? Has made all the difference in the person that I am.
What do you want those who read and reread your book to take away from it?
That who you are and what you have to offer matters, and that it's enough exactly as you are, like exactly as it is. You don't have to add or take anything away from your story. Like exactly as it is, it's more than enough, and someone else needs to hear it. So I hope that they're just encouraged enough to continue on their own journeys, and their own journeys of acceptance, because even in those hard moments, they don't last forever.
No, they don't. Everything, there's an up and down. You just have to kind of ride the waves of the season, and then there's always your season of harvest. So you're absolutely right about that. Now, I know you're a busy woman. You're currently in law school as well. Is that right?
Yes. So I'm studying law. So that's what's been going on with me academically. I actually took this semester off though.
Okay.
Just I felt like I needed a reset. I need to realign, refocus with everything else that's going on in my life.
Right.
I'll be back at it next semester. So
nice. Are you going to, in all this limited time that you have, are you going to fit in any other, like another second book, perhaps a follow-up to to your first?
So I really want it to be a series. That was the thought when I first created it. Like, how cool would it be to tell all of these little different stories from my childhood?
Right.
And so I'm actually working on my second book.
Okay.
And it's Helena and the Traveling Snow Globe.
Nice.
Christmas was a thing in our household. It was kind of me and my Nana's special time of the year. Mm-hmm. And I just have so many, and so many things she taught me about the Christmas season, and just how others experience around the world, and, gratitude, that I really think is an important lesson to share.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a great book, a great follow-up to your first. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for, taking the time to come on the show. And it was nice to talk to you and talk about your creative. I mean, it's really hard to be someone that is creative and to be honest about it and share that gift with others, because there's always people that may not understand it. There's going to be people who are going to always have something to say. So being able to put yourself out there, as you say, be comfortable in who you are, be yourself no matter what, it's a beautiful thing. And it's something that a lot more people need to do, to just accept who you are and share it with the world. Don't be afraid to do so. Thank you so much again for being on the show. I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. And I hope to see you next time. Bye everyone.
Thank you so much.